welcome to Proper Curious, the podcast for down-to-earth creatives. I'm Rachael.
And I'm Liana, and we're two sisters exploring the world through a curious lens in a quest to live more creatively.
So if you feel like that's you, grab a brew and join us.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Proper Curious.
Hello.
It's nice to have you back again.
Hope you're all well.
I hope you're all well. Hope you've been very creative since the last time we listened. You listened.
We were in conversation.
So, just quick introduction to why Proper Curious then, to start off, if you've not listened before. We basically created this podcast as a little bit of a way to give ourselves a project, explore different topics that we got really interested in, and see how that kind of prompted us creatively. Yeah, and it's been a journey, hasn't it, Rach? It's really
kind of some like accountability, isn't it? Because we're obviously doing this now. We've started it. And we had a meeting this week to force ourselves to have a plan, which is very good. So hopefully more regular episodes will be occurring. It's very beautiful to have creativity on a schedule.
It's like doing a fun project, like when I made that travel brochure on Kenya when I was like 10, and I really loved doing it. Project as a kid.
She's not been creative since. What? What has that got to do with the price of fish? Eggs?
No, I'm saying it's like we've given ourselves a project.
We have.
And that I like it. I like doing projects like that, like my Kenya project. I like the project where I drew.
Hold on here, 75.
I once drew all.
No, let's not start this.
All of the flags in all of the countries and put them around my bedroom. Do you remember?
Why? No.
Do you remember that?
No.
Why? Because I was like,
did anyone ask you to do that?
No, I just did it out of fun.
Well, I once made a piece of paper as long as a sperm whale. And I got everyone in the class to come to the second floor window of my primary school in Inverness and look at me outside on my own. Turns out wind versus a very long piece of paper is hard to control as one little primary school student.
That's so funny. Anyway, so this is us being...
Other people weren't as passionate about my paper whale.
Oh, I would have been.
Yeah, I would, because it was very big and I wanted to show that.
Yeah. Moving on. So the hope is that we are just having lots of fun doing this, really exploring new things, being creative in different ways. And so far, the people that have listened, some of them have been inspired to be creative, haven't they? And have made things and sent pictures.
Have. People have made runes.
So we have already got a little bit of a community going on, but we just need to figure out how to put that online.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
We're gathering some momentum. So obviously our last one was liminal. And, the episode for this one is stained glass. So that segued on from the liminality, obviously, and the sacred space thoughts, and that's how it came to be. But since the last episode, what have you done creatively? Have you been spurred on?
Well, yeah, because, as we all know, I had many revelations in the last episode. And
have you done a nidra? And have you connected?
I have. I've been doing meditation.
Oh.
And you know what?
I didn't know that.
Oh, I put it on the cousin chat the other day. You obviously didn't read it. I have been doing little meditation moments, because we talked a bit about that, didn't we? About how to tap into that sort of space in your brain to allow that that creative practice to flow. So, I've just been meditating, basically putting
and how has it impacted you?
I've put all sorts of stuff on YouTube. It's been great. It's impacted me in terms of just connecting with myself a little bit more. Yeah. But in terms of creativity, I think that's just a new creative practice for me, even though it's a wellness practice, but it's also a creative practice.
Yeah, but it's all linked.
In that moment, it's all linked. I knew that anyway, but I think I'm coming to realise it in my mind and my body.
My mind and my body and my soul.
So... basically,
my body and my mind. Yeah, sorry, that was a 90s reference, probably, wasn't it? Age.
Oh, and what's really interesting is that since I've been doing this meditation,
in silence or guided?
Some guided, some silence, flexible. What's interesting is I have been dreaming.
Yeah, that's a side effect of meditating.
Well, own it.
It's happened.
And the other thing that because I've been doing that meditation, it's made me sort of want to do more sort of like calming things, which obviously is drawing. And so I've been reconnecting with the drawing that I started months and months ago, which is the door. So I've started to kind of get close to finishing that. And also I'm about to take a big risk with it.
What's that? Turning the page.
My vision for it has changed since the liminality episode, because I was thinking that doorway to me is quite liminal in itself, and I think that's why I was drawn to that doorway, because it's a doorway to go into nowhere. What's behind it? It's like
the mystery of the unknown.
Mystery, and it's lovely. Just going to do something different, so I'm going to take a risk. We shall see how that turns out. What have you been up to, Rach, creatively?
Well, I obviously did my poem about Inchcombe Island and the liminality of that when it was in the mist and the grey day. And then I went and obviously recorded it on Inchcombe Island later. So I went on the initial trip where it was really misty, but then I went back again. So I had to get the train to the boat and the boat and then be on the island. And then I took all my recording stuff on my own and I recorded it on the island. So I've got the sounds of hopefully the sea and the birds behind it. Hello. I'm on Inchcombe Island and I just thought I'd read you this poem that I wrote in the Abbey, or about being in the Abbey. I'm watching a little island of seals and it's pupping season, so there's some very tiny and cute ones. Anyway, this poem is called We Are a Multitude. Sacred refuge, isle between the mists, this secret pocket of solitude, worn stone steps, walking in the feet of ages, in the gloom of cloisters no longer lit, my footfall echoes as I cross the threshold into sacred space, lips open to sing where my sex was restrained before, standing in the temple of song, hallowed, exposed, rapturous, all hearts swept in with a heart, with a power that transcends time, carrying the spirits of the women who lie in my genes, the souls whose exclusion still fuels simmering cauldrons of rage deep in my bones, standing strong in every corner of the place. The women cry out, we are a multitude. Cacophonic, voices raised to the heavens on the wings of gulls, carried by the sea to the depths of the oceans. All is connected, and we are in the fabric of everything. A book in my hands, born from the isle by a woman, writing the women back into place. The women are seeping out, in the wailing of the wind, in the thundering of the waves. Hear their cry.
Oh, I like that. I really like the line about carrying the spirits of the women in our genes.
Who lie in our genes.
Who lie in our genes.
Yeah, because I was stood in the chapter house on Inchcombe Island and it was empty and it's very echoey, and there was actually only 2 other people on my boat, so there was only 3 of us on the island, which usually it's like absolutely packed. Like the last time I went, I would say that it was like 100 of us. Like, so that was just intensely bizarre. So it was liminal on the boat and then on the island. And then I was stood in the chapter house, just dead echo. No, I couldn't hear any voices. I could only hear a slight bit of wind outside, and that was it. It was very
sounds brilliant.
Ghostly. And I just thought, here I am, a woman, in a place that was mainly filled with men.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I don't know. I did like hum a little song. I don't know. There was something just
powerful in that moment there.
Empowering to think of how gender equality has progressed since then. And like, I don't know. There was lots of different thoughts in my head, really. Just felt
sounds like quite
an experience that day. Yeah, so the topic today, beautifully tied in there to the Abbey, is, funnily enough,
stained glass windows.
Stained glass. Now, we didn't specify windows, did we? But stained glass.
I thought we did.
Stained glass, obviously, as we said before, it does link in with the liminal things slightly, in that it's in sacred spaces mostly.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to tell you a little secret, but we initially thought that we would do Secrets of the Landscape, which we will do at some later point. But we had a little adventure, came back, and thought, you don't know what to say about that. But we will discover what to
We
say about that.
stared
We
at
will
some
use that.
earthworks.
We stared at an earth. We went on the
We climbed
A75.
a hill and stared at some earthworks.
And then we were like,
We weren't quite sure.
We did some very beautiful use of a compass
We did.
to align ourselves with a stone circle. Anyway.
Stellan Secrets. That's a future episode. We've banked it.
Yeah. Keep listening in the future for that.
So then we changed our minds.
Then we came home, made a fire, and thought, should we just do stained glass? So here we are. Minimal discussion, and we've kept it secret from each other, so we don't know what we're going to talk about today.
Who knows what's going to happen? Oh.
Who knows?
Who knows?
So, will I tell you my thoughts?
Yeah, you tell me your thoughts first.
So, I feel like this is tangential. This is how creativity occurs to me, because you get an idea and then you go off in an idea and it's just beautiful, and somehow you get to something very weird.
Wait,
but I'm
just
not
follow your interests.
that wild.
Okay, go
So
on.
my first thought was
Crack
about
on with it. Sorry.
and I thought about light and life.
Whoa,
And our relationship
biblical.
with light. I just thought it's so interesting how far back this our connection with light as a symbolic thing goes.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing that occurred to me, obviously, was Neolithic use of light, because that is about 5,000 years ago. And Maze Howe in Orkney, and you know, Maze Howe is like a chambered cairn near the Ness of Brodgar complex, which is like they've newly dug that. Well, not newly; it's been the last 20 years, but dug that up and think it's a temple complex.
Mm-hmm.
But that has a 10-meter long passage to the tomb, and it aligns precisely with the winter solstice sunset to give the light box effect. And I thought that's like the beginnings of us having this sacred relationship with light as an illuminating, as like a marker. I mean, that could be a calendar thing, but obviously it's just it's a
It's part of our
use
journey,
light in
isn't
a
it?
monument and in a sacred space. So I was just like, that's beautiful. Anyway, back to light. So then I
Back
looked
to
at
stained
the
glass
Greek.
windows.
I know, but this ties in. Wait,
Uh-huh. Okay,
it's gonna be
sorry.
beautiful. So the Greeks, in their mythology, they had Hyperion, who was the Titan of light in Greek mythology, and he was seen as a beacon of enlightenment and celestial aspects of light, such as guiding the sun, moon, and stars. And his story intertwines with a broader narrative of lights and symbolism. And it really encapsulated that knowledge and the tension between good and evil.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pythagoras and Heraclitus began to explore the properties of light and its relationship to truth and knowledge. And I just thought that was really beautiful. And it's funny, isn't it? Like how they saw mathematics as sacred. And within stained glass windows, you've got so much mathematics. And there's a lot of thought about stained glass being a craft that's a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, oh, that's beautiful. Pythagoras, you're way ahead of your time. And then Plato had theories about people realizing that light meant understanding of truth and justice. And then the Romans had Apollo, who's the god of the sun, and Sol.
And I think because light and darkness is something that is a shared experience between everyone on the planet, there are going to be all of these things, aren't there? In
Yes, but
different
Liana,
spiritual beliefs.
this is how you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Not everybody thinks this way. So the Roman symbolism continued with more myth that look at like light being associated with the pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, and a moral path that leads to virtue. So there is a clear link to why we are using windows. So down to business now with stained glass in churches. There was this chap called, now I can't pronounce this because I think he's French, Abbot Suger of
That sounds French. Yeah.
Saint Denis, Saint Denis. I don't know. Yorkshire is like Saint Denis. He was called the father of Gothic architecture, and he said about stained glass, the dull mind rises to truth through that which is material, and in seeing this light is resurrected from its former submersion. that was him writing about rebuilding the church that he was in. And he was like saying about how obviously his soul is elevated through light. And funnily enough, I then read about medieval, because he was medieval, stained glass windows. So they're not read from the top down, they're not read left to right. They're read from the bottom up, so you slowly ascend in your vision. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, I didn't come across that. That is really interesting.
And this Abbot Sugar said that the images could only be comprehended by the literate. I mean, they were pictorial images. It was like 5 round circles that in this window that he's referring to of scenes. You know, there's no writing there. Well, there is a little bit writing, but because obviously you would know how to read those windows is what he meant. But that made me laugh because often stained glass windows are called the poor man's Bible, aren't they? Because it was a way of conveying messages to the masses that were illiterate.
Yeah.
And I just thought that's so. So then now you're going to hate this because you hate my detail, but
Don't.
I just got thinking about windows.
Uh-huh.
And I thought, you know, when you're looking at like the early churches and early buildings that were stone, they're very basic. I was thinking of like is it St. Margaret's Chapel that's in Edinburgh Castle? It's really, 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 really old. And it's very small and the windows are absolutely tiny. So obviously glass wasn't a thing, you know? So I was thinking about like, see, you know, the first churches with stained glass, what that might have been like and what people were actually living in versus what the sacred spaces appeared like. And obviously they're in like wattle and daub housing. So they would have the woven sticks and then they've chucked their mud at it. And then they didn't have any glass. So they just had like a twig or a shutter. And they were often very thin just to be able to shoot an arrow through. Oh, that's that. Else you'd just get a bit drafty or you'd get like rats and stuff in there. But
So it would have been like quite dark and dingy.
yeah, dark and gloomy and
gloomy.
So imagine, I was just like, imagine going into a church space. Like, think for instance of York Minster. That's like one of the largest medieval cathedrals in Europe. I think it's the largest. And it, like, imagine like the multi-sensory sort of experience of the incense and then the space and the height. And you know, often the windows are like in the top part of the church, the non-stained glass ones, and so they're illuminating that roof, and often that's painted with murals of like the heavens. So you've got this sense of like height, feeling small, and then you're looking up to the heavens, aren't you? I just thought, wow, that must have felt like an explosion of an assault on the senses, really.
Yeah, you would have felt it even more than we do now, like even when we walk into even when
the
we walk
contrast
into big,
between that dark,
you know, we're blown away by the beauty of the space, and the sort of sacred feeling of that space. But it would have been,
immense.
Would have been actually. I have never thought of it like that.
Henry Adams said the cathedral is a vast symphony in stone. Its windows are an orchestra of colour.
Ooh,
That's beautiful. There was one moment where I was sat in York Minster, actually, and there's some round windows that aren't that very big, halfway up. I was just sat, and it was quite empty, and it was really sunny outside, but the way it was coming through the window was making it a really strong colour. Like, it was almost like the colours were in a beam, then hitting the wall, and it was just like, you can totally see how you would almost think it's like an apparition of the divine, you know, like, and also some of like frankincense and myrrh, apparently when you chuck them onto flame, do rise as a smoke colour. So I think there would have been lots of imagery in churches of incense and colour and smoke puffs in colour. It was like a
magic,
theatrical,
literally
experience.
Magic.
Yeah,
I want to get some frankincense and myrrh and chuck it.
That's the next thing we can do.
Should we do like a science experiment?
This is not bonfire night. This is
sacred science.
Frankincense and myrrh. So the oldest windows is Monk Wearmouth, the Abbey at Jarrow.
We've mentioned Jarrow before. We need to go there.
Earliest stained glass windows, and they're just jumbled, small little windows of jumbled coloured glass. They're not a picture.
Yeah, amazing.
And then in the 11th century, you go to dense glass with limited colours. 14th century, dramatic change. Silver stain enabled the use of white and yellow without as much lead. So that meant they could paint bigger pictures with less trim. And then I've got like just a random fact. In 1393 at Winchester College, there's 3 massive panels in stained glass, and they're depicting different saints, but like a bit bigger than life size, and they like appear 3D, like they're coming towards you. Imagine that. You know, because I was thinking it's like before like electric lights, before TV, before all the multimedia assault that we're used to. Imagine seeing like a colour image that's like beaming at you.
And it changes
like
depending
neon.
on how the light's shining through it as well.
Exactly.
And it changes every time you look at it. All of these main windows are in the east windows, aren't they, of the churches?
Yeah.
The sun rises in the east, and that's like representing the resurrection of Christ. That's the official line. But
Yeah.
that sun moving from the bottom and changing throughout the day, it must have just been amazing to look at.
So I was thinking more about like York Minster. Obviously, I went to uni in York, and then I've moved to Edinburgh, and I just actually had a sudden thought that I really followed accidentally a sort of glazier's trail of the UK.
Right.
Because York was like a centre of stained glass, and so was Edinburgh. Am I a medieval glazier in my soul? Well, that's a thought, isn't it? One other thing that I like briefly looked at was thinking about York Minster, because York Minster needs to be mentioned because it is the biggest collection of medieval glass in Europe. And the east window of York Minster, which was from 1405 to 1408 created, it's 311 panels showing the entire history of the world. Which I don't know how they knew that, but
That's
and,
interesting. I'll have to Google that.
in World War II, they took all of the panels out of that window in prep for being bombed,
Yeah.
and they repaired them, put them back, had signed little bits of the window.
Amazing.
And I was like, isn't that funny, isn't it? How like a window is a mark of someone, do you know, when that was created like so many years ago, and then people in the Second World War also leaving their mark, adding history to the history, and how much it's like a monument to our lives as well. It's not just like the ethereal sacred space. It's like that we want to have something material that's treasured and goes on after us.
You know who I did read about who likes to make marks on windows? This was a tangent that I went off on. Robert Burns, because I found that there was a church that had commemorated Robert Burns by putting his face on a stained glass window. But then I started reading about Robert Burns, who actually carried around like a diamond-tipped pen to graffiti windows. He loved to graffiti windows and like write stuff on it. And once he wrote something like quite mocking about someone on a window in a pub, and it was like the king or something. And he then started working for the king later on, and then he went back to the pub and smashed the window to try and cover up his mark that he'd made.
Interesting.
But then I just had a quick thought about something else when you were talking about the glass being removed from the windows to protect it during the war. There was a church in Greystoke, St Andrew's Church, which has a medieval east window. It shows, right, Saints Andrew and Matthew in the city of the man-eaters. He's a man-eater.
What's the man-eater say?
I have no idea. Something from the Bible. But that window was removed and hidden by parishioners during the English Civil War to protect it from here's these people again, the iconoclasts. See, I managed to say the word this time.
Oh, that long word.
Presbyterian iconoclasts.
Liana thought that was all one word. Presbyterian
So this one
iconoclast.
says iconoclast Puritan forces.
Yep.
And some were moved to Greystoke Castle, and then they kind of put them all back together.
Yeah.
Someone, I don't know who said this, but a rather cavalier approach towards restoration, typical of the mid-19th century. Because if you look at the window, you're like,
I often think that's rather cavalier.
That's a rather cavalier approach.
How very bold of you.
If you look at the window, it's like really like, what? I think there's like bits that are like in the wrong places and stuff. But there's a devil at the bottom of that, right? That saint, whoever it is standing on the devil, who's bright red. Apparently red was a really, really like rare colour to use in medieval windows because it actually uses bits of gold. And apparently people that have looked at that, or historians that have looked at that window since, have been like, actually that wouldn't have been placed there. Originally that would have been whispering into the ear of a woman in somewhere else in the and I just thought that's so funny that they've positioned him then at the bottom.
In hell. coming out of
It's a
hell.
real muddle.
So
knows?
my trip, after I had
Yeah.
that beginning from Light of the World to now, I then went on a trip to St Giles Cathedral, which is on the Royal Mile in Edinburgh. That's the big slopey bit up to the castle. And it's, I don't actually know how old it was, but it's very old. And it's obviously probably based on the site of something older. And lots of the kings and queens of Scotland have got married there. And the queen was, what do you call it? Lying in state there.
Oh.
She was dead there, but she was lying in state there. Sorry, she was dead there. Sorry, everybody. I didn't attend that, obviously. So St Giles, Cathedral window.
Sorry. Sorry, British. Sorry.
I went into St Giles. Now I started off. I'm going to do a Liana here and really go through my whole day in total detail. My process was I went to the National Museum of Scotland initially. Turns out it's very huge, and there's not a very good guide to where the actual things are that you want to see. So I was like, I wish I could just Google the museum. Like, why isn't there a function somewhere in here? Like, I want to find this item. Where is it? There probably is.
yeah.
Somebody respond to me if you know that. But yeah, I wanted to find the examples of stained glass, and ended up getting very lost in lots of different weird galleries. I mean, I found a lot of different stuff that I did not know was there. Like really old priest outfits that were like really are hanging by a thread together. I found a little preaching thing on stilts. Apparently that was before we had church buildings. Anyway, so that failed. And I then
So you
walked
didn't.
in the
You
rain.
didn't find anything there. Then
Not find anything in there. So this is why it's my process.
Okay, it's your process. You walked in the
So
rain.
then went to St Giles Cathedral, and this is interesting because I've never been in there,
Ah.
even though I had my pictures on my wedding day outside of that. But I've never been in it. So I paid my little £6. That's the lowest place you can buy because I said I'll probably come back. But I won't.
Did you pay to get in?
Turns out St Giles, I mean, it's not very impressive, given that Edinburgh's like the capital.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking of Carlisle Cathedral. That's so immensely amazing.
Oh, it's so
and York
gorgeous.
Minster obviously is like beyond phenomenal. St Giles is very small. It's very gloomy. A lot of the stained glass windows are just very dreary. I mean, there's some interesting ones that depict like the Royal Mile as it used to be, which is slightly interesting.
That's interesting.
It's a reference to place, and there's a little side chapel. I don't know what it's called, but that's worth going in. It was very fancy roof. Felt very Hogwartsy, and it had like coats of arms on all the stained glass windows. So I like processed around it. Yeah, I was just like, oh no, nothing was inspiring me. And then I clapped eyes on this. Clapped eyes on this beautiful window. It was like coming out of the dreary gloom of that cathedral. And then, lo and behold, in the middle was this phenomenal window that I did not yet know who it was by or their significance or anything. I just thought that's stunning. So it depicts Christ still in the Sea of Galilee. So there's Christ in a boat, stood next to the boat walking on the water. And it's very like Art Nouveau-y, very arts and crafts style. There's a rainbow above it that joins.
Yeah.
Are you Googling it?
I am.
Douglas Strachan, St Giles Cathedral, Edinburgh.
Is it quite a big one?
Yes.
Is it the east window?
Unfortunately, I don't know. There's a screen, like a little room section at the bottom. And because you're obviously lower than that, you can't see the bottom of the window. And they've like fenced it off in a weird way that you can't even like get close enough. And I was like, this is the best window there.
Yeah.
They need some kind of platform so you can see the bottom of it. Like you could get up it and see it full on. Anyway, beautiful. Even though it was a gloomy day outside, it was still like glowing. And so I obviously wanted to find out who on earth made such a great window. And it was by Douglas Strachan, who lived from 1875 to 1950. And he actually is very famous, and I had never heard of him. So he was actually born in Aberdeen to a bookkeeper. So he had like quite a modest upbringing. But get this for his life, right? He was apprenticed as a teenager to a lithographer at the Aberdeen Free Press. And then a black and white artist in Manchester newspapers in 1895 to 97. And then he was a political cartoonist for the Manchester Evening Chronicle.
Oh, interesting.
And then he got ill. He had to go back to Aberdeen. And then he started doing mural and portrait painting. And then he got commissioned in 1899. So how old would you have been then? About 30 odd, nearly 40.
No, if he was born in 1875,
Did his first window in 1899.
so he would have been 24.
Whatevs. And then he travelled around France and Italy studying stained glass, realised that it was his thing, because obviously cartoonist and his whatever. How good of a style is that, actually, as a baseline for stained glass?
Do you know what? I realised exactly the same thing.
And
when I was looking
then,
at this. Yeah.
in 1909, he then became, suddenly, the head of the craft section at Edinburgh College of Art.
That's really interesting.
I mean, what a journey. Where was he getting his money from? And he resigned in 1911 to do his own work. And then he was commissioned to make a window for the Peace Palace in The Hague, which got him international acclaim. And he actually had his own kilns at his house, and he was very dedicated to like testing out his windows himself before he didn't only just do the sketches, he like tested everything out. He was like really invested in the whole process.
But that's that very arts and craft movement, isn't it?
Quite a good guy, you know?
I just quickly had a look then, and it says that he was inspired by, he was in the generation after the kind of forerunner of like stained glass windows in the arts and craft movement was Christopher Wall.
Oh, that's interesting.
Christopher Wall was the dad of Veronica Wall, who made a really beautiful window that is in Carlisle Cathedral. It's called the Bowman window, commemorates Anthony Harvey Bowman, her soldier who died in the First World War, but the colours in it are beautiful. It was 1926 that she made that, so she was kind of like second generation arts and craft movement people. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It's very symmetrical. I like it. It's like a shaft of light at the top.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like a UFO, actually, like she's being beamed up. So the thing with Carlisle Cathedral that I found really fascinating about their massive east window is that it's the biggest in the country. It's 51 feet high and 26 feet wide. And I wouldn't have noticed this, I don't think, without reading it, unless I was looking really, really carefully at this window. The top third is the original medieval glass. Just the top third. But the rest of it was just damaged over time and removed and put back and whatever over time. So the rest was replaced in the Victorian era. So you can tell actually when you look at it, like, oh yeah, there's a definite colour difference.
Oh, you really can. I've never noticed that, and I've stared at that
I've
before.
never noticed it. Exactly.
How
I just was like,
weird.
that's incredible. Anyway, basically where my journey into stained glass windows started was in Tully in Carlisle. We've got a small pre-Raphaelite gallery in the old part of the museum. Really beautiful paintings and drawings and sketches in there. But there's 3 cartoons. I was surprised to find that they were called cartoons by Edward Burne-Jones, who they're really quite big. They're sketches of the plans for the windows. And I walk past these like all the time. And I was thinking, they are really beautiful. They're like angels, mostly. And so when we said we were going to do this episode, I was like, right, bro, I'll look into those. And then I realised that they were, there's a set of like 15 of them that Tully have, but there's only a few on display. And they link to windows that are in St. Martin's Church in Brampton that he designed. So I was like, of course, I will go to Brampton. So I had to
go to Brampton.
Yeah, so I took some pictures of them, so I'll put them on the website. So I went to St. Martin's in Brampton. I did a bit of research. I've got some very helpful PDFs and a very helpful thing on the internet, on the website, on the church website, that has like a plan of the windows, and you click on the number and it tells you what they're all about.
That's amazing.
But
See, this is what St. Giles needs.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, it's quite clunky, but like it's the info is there if you want it anyway. But Edward Burne-Jones designed all of the windows in St. Martin's. So this is a really interesting church.
I've never been.
It's the only church designed by the pre-Raphaelite artist Philip Webb in 1878. So pre-Raphaelite artists designed the church, which was a massive departure from like the Gothic style at the time.
Yes.
So that was kind of new and quirky.
Like,
and then
whoa.
the vicar at the time who'd moved up from London, so it was maybe on the arts scene a bit, arty vicar. Was it Henry Whitehead he was called? He was adamant that he wanted Edward Burne-Jones and William Morris to do the stained glass windows. And some of the parishioners at the time were like, oh, they're too expensive. And he was like, he actually said to them, you will thank me later. Like, in the future, you will thank me. So he really pushed. Yeah, and he was totally right. So he really pushed for that. But so this kind of trio, this trinity, this holy trinity of like pre-Raphaelite artists, Philip Webb, Edward Burne-Jones, William Morris, resulted in this incredible church being built. So it's kind of considered, this church is quite famous, it's considered as a masterpiece of the arts and craft movement. And, you know, I found some information online about it saying that the church itself reflects the socialist reform values of Henry Whitehead in terms of its planning, and it's quite open, and the fact that, like you said before, the windows are very much there for the illiterate population of the church to be able to just access stories from the Bibles and things. That's quite a common theme anyway, isn't it? So I kind of struggled to find more information on that sort of social reform. But it did say that Edward Burne-Jones had decided to shift away from saints and things, and more was depicting people of faith from the Bible. So ordinary people from the Bible who had stories to tell. So the north windows in there depict different characters from Bible stories, and they're all holding props of different things. So there's one holding a temple, there's one holding a sword, there's one holding some ravens, or being fed by ravens, there's one holding a spade, there's Moses holding the Ten Commandments, like Noah holding an ark, so that the people could just quickly identify what
what story that's relating to.
I really like that. And they were beautiful windows in themselves. All men. Did pick up on that. Yes. And then there was some other windows in there. One of them is like a really beautiful one, actually, gorgeous colours in it, of faith, hope and charity, which are all depicted as women. Surrounded, going back to your theme of light, two of them are holding flames.
Is this one that they've got scrolls in their hands? Some of them.
That's the east window with all the angels with scrolls in their hands.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah, so interestingly, me and Dylan went after school, right?
I think that's like possibly my new favourite stained glass window. Well, yeah. Great on the photos. So anyway, we went after school, and it was a bit of a grim day. So this probably had an impact on the kind of visual impact of the windows. Got to this church. Thankfully, it was open. We took the recording equipment too, so I'll put in some clips of us.
So basically, you come in, you walk down the carriage, and it's literally just right in front. So this is the big important one.
The carriage.
Yeah.
You've got Christ at the top holding a lamb round his neck. And then you've got 9 angels.
And then in the middle there's a swan ripping out a bird's guts and feeding
No.
It is. That's what you said.
No, it's a pelican feeding her babies by, it says, ripping her breast. But what's interesting about this window... What's interesting about this window is that St. George at the bottom, the design has been reused 44 times. But no one has reused the pelican.
So it's unique to the church.
But the pelican has been apparently cited as being like an early example of Art Nouveau because of the way that it's designed.
Actually, the best view of Jesus holding the lamb is from a locked door. Well, actually, the place is behind
the vestry.
The vestry.
The vestry.
But it's locked. It's locked.
The upper
locked,
part.
so you can't get in there.
If you manage to get into the vestry, send us a pic.
Yeah.
Should we look for witch marks just before we go? Knock, knocking, Henry, open the door to me.
The acoustics in this place are amazing, though. Seriously. So if you create your own folk songs at home, this is the perfect place to sing them.
Yeah.
And it's totally not disrespectful.
Okay. Right, we're going to go. Bye.
Bye.
So what struck me about this, Rach, was when you look at the pictures on the internet of this window, it looks amazing. And you can see all the colours. But when we went in, I could hardly see the pelican because it was so dark.
I could hardly see the pelican. I was like, where's that pelican
Honestly,
gone?
there was only sections of the window that were lit up.
It
was gloomy. It was light, but I think there's a building.
Dirty?
Possibly. There's a building that's directly blocking the sunlight, I think, through that window. And and quite a lot of the windows in the church, actually, I was like, I don't know, I expected to be a bit more wowed because I really love Pre-Raphaelite art.
Yeah, and the picture is so vibrant.
The colours are vibrant, but for whatever reason, I don't know whether it was just the light on the day or whatever, it was 4 o'clock, so starting to get a bit darker because it's, we're November now.
So what is interesting is, I'm obviously looking at the image on the screen here, is behind all the figures, there is like, the pre-Raphaelite
carpet of flowers,
foliage,
and leaves,
and it's all very green and
Amazing.
very dark. So I can see how, on a gloomy day, that would
kind of just looks like a bit of a mishmash.
gloom. It would look gloomy, wouldn't it? If it's not well lit.
I just thought it was a shame that the church hadn't,
That's
considering
so
how
strange.
famous this building is and its significance in the art world,
Yeah, like backlight
how
it,
they haven't somehow managed to.
feature it.
Unless they do, or unless it looks, I'll have to revisit it on a day that's brighter, I think. But yeah, what struck me about the windows in the church as well was not just what they were depicting, but the stories behind them as well. So like 3 windows which commemorate Bessie, child of George and Rosalind Howard, who were very wealthy people who helped pay for the building of the church and things. This was like a memorial set of windows to their child Bessie, who died at like 4 months old. And that links in with some other stuff that I found about not just the actual, the use of windows, I guess, as not only just being like storytellers, but also they're dedicated to.
Yeah, I was looking at some stunning ones by William Morris, and they like on those he's one of like Raphael and one of Saint Michael, and on both of them it says like in memory of blah or deceased,
it's really
blah
common.
blah. And I was just like, oh, that's so interesting, isn't it? We don't really do that anymore.
I think it's because they were so expensive, weren't they, stained glass windows, and whoever was funding them, they like to have their little mark. But it's interesting, one of the windows in St. Martin's was apparently a gift from the children of the parish. And I was like, I don't know how it would be a gift from them because they can't pay for it. But I just thought, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so when I think about like stained glass windows as storytellers in not only the things that they're depicting, but the history that can be told through stained glass windows as well, like them being removed from the Puritan iconoclasts and hidden away and then put back again and then removed again and then put back again, for the wars and things.
Well, what was so interesting about that, the Reformation and the loss of all the windows, is then like the opportunity that led for obviously the arts and crafts movement and everything to come in and like recreate them where they had obviously not been in place. They'd been blank glass for a long time.
Yeah. How boring. Ugh.
Like in Edinburgh, there's hardly any. There's only one church that I found that has like pre-Reformation glass left. The rest of it is like new.
Yeah. So there isn't much medieval.
No. So that's why York
all,
Minster is so like stunning, because it's just there.
And I didn't realise that until I researched this. I didn't realise like
the impact.
I just didn't realise all this history.
Well, you don't really think about it, do you? Just think, oh, that's
you don't.
nice.
No, you're just like, oh, it's a pretty stained glass window.
I actually didn't. I was actually surprised at how old the windows are.
Yeah. Well, I found a snippet of an article online actually when I was researching. That there was someone, two Scottish father and son in the Moffat area.
I saw this.
Did you see this?
Yeah, because only a few weeks ago.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
So they purchased a stained glass window for 20 quid
in
from a charity
an Edinburgh charity shop.
In an Edinburgh charity shop for 20 quid. And it's actually quite big.
Where was I?
Well,
I could have been in there.
In it. And then, so they believe that it could be 700-year-old piece dating back to Robert the Bruce's lifetime and potentially from one of his castles.
I mean, how are they going to prove this though?
I mean, they've sought like
advice,
like expert advice and stuff, and they're like, yeah, it actually has the potential to be. I mean, it could be a load of rubbish, but they actually think that it might have come to Scotland via the Knights Templar.
Templar. Templar.
Templar.
Yeah, that's another one. Look up Rosalind Glen if you're interested in that. But
amazing. When I was thinking about windows being like dedicated to people and having names of people on who've maybe paid for it or blah blah blah, I found some other really interesting information about a interesting individual. So there is a church in Ravenstonedale in Cumbria called St Oswald's
Ravenstonedale.
Church.
Yeah.
And trying to find stained glass windows that had like quite a unique story. I tried to find controversial stained glass windows, but I couldn't really find much
So
on
is
that.
that that's Anglo-Saxon, is it? Name?
St Oswald's, yeah.
Well, Ravenstonedale.
Oh, all right.
Sorry. Yeah. I was just
I don't
thinking
know.
about you know how we were looking at the crosses and the ravens and it's the Ravenstone in the Dale. isn't it?
Ooh, I like that. So there is a stained glass window here,
Yeah.
which is a memorial window to Elizabeth Gaunt, who was the last woman to be burned at the stake for treason
Oh
in
no.
1685.
What did she do?
And get this, well, so basically, I was reading all about this. It was
Oh,
to do with her providing shelter to victims of religious and political persecution.
Oh, how sad.
She was sentenced to death for treason after having been convicted for involvement in the Rye House plot. The Rye House plot was basically the people that were plotting to kill the king.
Yes.
She was an Anabaptist shopkeeper in London.
A what shopkeeper?
Anabaptist. I've not heard that before.
Oh.
I don't know. It was part of her belief systems anyway.
I just looked up the Anabaptists to find out what that was. And it's someone who believes in baptizing as an adult rather than as a baby.
Ah, that's interesting.
I mean, isn't that wild that,
Quite progressive.
like, well, just people were being, burnt at the stake, tortured and drowned over an issue of, like, when you were baptized?
Yeah, what about what you believe, really, and which sect you belong to? Yeah, because
But
some
it's
of
like
the
even
people who were part of this plot were like hung, drawn, and quartered. I found a really grim, like, wood carving.
I'm looking at a really grim wood carving now.
Oh, maybe that's it. With like body
It's
parts all
actually
over
one
the
of
place.
somebody being like, they've been burnt at a stake and it's their body after that.
Oh, that's grim, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really
Imagine
grim.
seeing that publicly. All she did was like give shelter to one of these guys. I mean, she did arrange for him to escape via boat to Amsterdam, but her whole life apparently was just helping people, particularly those who were being like politically persecuted. Very religious woman, and basically, this guy dobbed her in,
Oh no.
and he didn't get executed, and she did.
So he dobbed her in to like get his freedom.
Yeah, isn't that awful?
That's actually really. I've just looked her up, and I don't know. It must be a wood carving engraving of her execution. It's in the Baptist press.
She did a mega speech.
It is really awful. Yeah.
She basically had requested that to be strangled, and that was declined. So she was literally burnt alive. Apparently, people in the crowd were like moved to tears because of the kind of dignity that she held in her death, and she just
Oh wow.
arranged the straw around herself so that it made her die quicker. She made a big speech, all about sort of like basically that she doesn't regret what she did. Her whole life has been dedicated to just doing God's work.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was really sad. Just really sad.
Yeah,
I just
a
thought, goodness
woman of
me.
conviction.
And it just made me think about all the quote marks witches, that we were talking about in one of our other episodes. And
Anyway, back to the stained glass.
but I just thought it's just so interesting to me how it makes you look beyond the image of what you're actually seeing to the story behind it.
Yeah, I wouldn't
story
usually
of-
like look up like
No.
who that person is.
No, I'd just be like, oh.
And actually, that's a flipping significant person.
Hmm.
Is when you do start looking at things, you do think, why isn't this written somewhere around it?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know?
There's just so many stories to be found in things like this, isn't there? And they're just little
There is.
nuggets, and you just
Because
overlook
there
it.
was,
You just
you
be like,
know,
oh,
in
right,
St.
okay.
Giles, there was no leaflet that I could carry around to walk around with.
I'm surprised for
There was-
£6. Come on, St.
There
Giles.
was no information near that window. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so that was
Side
my
issue.
main bits. I did find some interesting, like, modern stained glass windows. that would be good to go and visit in Cumbria. But yeah, I just my sort of thoughts around it all was just, it really made me think about the weaving of different stories, the
history,
the history, but also art styles, stories of different artistic movements, shown through windows, the stories of the people who funded them, the stories of the church themselves, the beliefs that were going into that, and how much thought there is around it all. And
because one of the areas that I was thinking of, so I then had a little segue, because obviously me and you went to is it Blackwell House near Windermere, the Arts and Crafts House, and obviously all of the stained glass. If you haven't been there, do go. All of the stained glass in the interior that was so beautiful,
gorgeous.
But it's a design feature. There's nothing much you can really say about that. It's just beautiful. And then, the modern glass, and like looking at the Tiffany lamps and the stained glass and everything, it's just not. It doesn't hold the same attraction to me as like the historical nature of it.
But I wonder if
how many lives have been lived around that. I don't know.
I know what you mean, but I think also there's something about going back to this sacred space kind of idea.
Yeah.
I think that just them being part of that whole building as a whole makes it more special, doesn't it? The Tiffany glass lamps, we've got a couple in our house that are beautiful, but it doesn't maybe have that same liminal feeling that I might have in a church.
Do you not feel liminal looking at your lamp?
Liminal. No.
Oh, I'm transported to
maybe if I do some yoga nidra at the same time.
I'll throw me myrrh on my flames.
And it did make me think, moving on to like creativity prompts, and it just made me have quite a lot of ideas actually about things that I'd like to do, pulling on some of them themes of stories for the illiterate. And I just thought, there's something in that.
I started a poem the other night prompted by it, and I was thinking about mark making and people adding their marks. I was really fascinated by the York Minster window. So when they'd repaired it, they'd put their name and like blah blah blah, repaired this glass in 1940 whatever. Just scratched it on the bit of window, and that's up there. You can't really see it, but it's on there. It's always on there now.
Become part of the tapestry of it.
I just was struck by, like, I'm sat here and I've got a book next to me. This is totally random, but it's called 1000 Beautiful Things by Arthur Mees, which is a really old book. And the first signature in it started with to Mabel with best wishes from Lindy in 1926. And then later on, somebody's added then to Diane with love and best wishes from Trevor, and that was in 2000. And I've added my name, and I was just like, I just love that idea of like people adding in a history to an object that's going to go on beyond us. You look around the room and you think all these books will probably be there after me, and they're just paper and card. It's just there was something sparking off lots of thoughts in me about like leaving something in the material
and changing that object in some way to reflect a personality
from our transient little life.
Oh,
I know.
That's lovely, that, isn't it?
That's lovely.
That's lovely, that,
and I also started like thinking I'm going to design a stained glass window and do a little drawing. I can't draw.
I'd actually love
to.
You can draw, right? You've got your.
I've
own
also looked at buying a stained glass kit because I thought, that's a cool.
Yeah.
Why not go all out?
Well, the guy who we bought our house off made the stained glass windows for some of our windows, and he was like, "Yeah, you should try it. It's pretty easy once you get going." And I was like, but it's just
now
it's really expensive to get all this stuff. I'd love to go on I looked into doing like stained glass at workshops.
Yeah, workshop.
It was really expensive because the materials are pricey.
Maybe we could just smash up some glass.
Maybe we could do our own version.
Because I looked at how I could make it
tissue
from
paper.
glass. Sea glass.
But that doesn't let the light shine through it as much, does it?
No, it doesn't. But you could make a candle holder. I could like stick it together without making a fireball, really. And then I thought, no, this is ridiculous. This is too long-winded.
Too long-winded. Just
there is a modern artist. I can't remember her name.
Oh, you could colour it in.
She microwave melts stuff to make modern funky stained glass windows. I can't remember her name.
Oh, really? I'll have to find that.
And there's somebody who did like political activist stained glass windows.
Nice.
Yeah, one of them was a woman peed on a compost pile to raise awareness of soil degradation. I was like, does soil degradation need an
All right.
awareness? But,
Why does a woman have to pee on it? Does that make it better?
it helps the soil to break down to make better compost if you put pee on it.
So all our wees in the wild are actually a really good thing?
Yeah.
Ah, amazing.
I have nourished the earth.
From Edward Burne-Jones
Well,
to
it's
wees in the
fertiliser,
wild.
isn't it? That's what fertiliser
Fertiliser,
is.
isn't it?
It's fertiliser, isn't it? Also, urine is useful in dyes.
Okay, we're
So
digressing.
also, yeah, no, but also on the creativity thing, one of my segues was, obviously I was thinking about the process of making stained glass and what that would have been through time. And there's a really interesting BBC series, you can get it on YouTube, but that's about colour. And it goes colour by colour through the history of that pigment. And that is so interesting. Sorry to use the phrase, but like the rarity of the ingredients of the colour and the significance. Like purple used to be only used for royalty, and there was lots of rules around it. And like where the dyes come from, how it's made.
Well, interestingly enough, we found, I say we, I'm not an archaeologist, I didn't find it. Some archaeologists, volunteers at the dig in Carlisle found like a piece of purple dye
Yeah.
from the Roman times, which was really expensive and significant because it was only related to to the emperors. But also,
And it was from
that is made from like sea slugs, snails or
Yeah.
something. And they like basically squidge all
you need
this
loads.
dye out, and it like
Yeah.
makes this purple colour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just random, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like how you would discover these things. Like, oh,
And lapis lazuli from
Caesar,
like
come over here.
Afghanistan, and then
Yeah,
it brings into like history. Then because how that then translates to how we learn about things is like the time period, and then where people were traveling at that point in time.
Yeah.
That's just
That is
fascinating.
fascinating. Maybe this is the next podcast episode, right?
Colours.
Colour.
We could be going for many weeks on that one.
We've got a colour exhibition
This week.
at Tully at the minute.
Yellow.
This week we are diving into the colour red.
Blue.
Green.
We could go for the trees after that.
We are doing the rainbow.
That is the end of the rainbow series.
I think we've probably gone on long enough here.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
So that was fun. That was surprisingly interesting. We will put the images on the website.
I took lots of
Depending
photos of
on the-
dark windows.
Yeah. We'll also really give some thought to how we can have a function on the website for other people to share. But it doesn't matter if you're listening to this ahead of time. Once we've got that mechanism set up, you can comment on any episode whenever you want.
You can comment anyway on Spotify or YouTube.
Spotify,
That's the current
YouTube.
platforms. I think I'm going to try and upload it to Apple Music. So
Okay, well, that's been great.
thanks for listening about stained glass windows.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued to see where go with your segues, I
Creativity.
say.
Right. Okay, everyone.
that one.
We shall catch up with you next time. Enjoy this episode. Ta-ta.
Bye.